Salutations, one and all. This is my review of RWBY Volume 7, Episode 5, Sparks. And just sweet Jesus above, this was a very busy episode. I mean, at some parts, and other parts got, really slow. Really slow. But yeah, so there's a lot to talk about, so let's just get into this. Episode opens up with Penny waking them all up, and she's super excited and happy, and this is really emphasized later on when she basically tells RWBY that Ironwood doesn't allow her to have any friends. So, yeah, she's super excited to have Team RWBY there, especially RWBY, because, now her friend's back. Now she can be a normal teenage... I think Ironwood's forgetting that, despite the fact that she is a killer death robot. Mentally, she still has the mind of, a 14 to 18-year-old girl. So, problematic there. It also has me a little concerned about Ironwood's overall plan and exactly what it is he's willing to sacrifice to get his goals done. I mean, we also find out he's planning on, basically sacrificing Winter, and he's using materials that Mantle needs to construct the new communication satellite. So, some problems there. We also get a shot of Team RWBY in... I'm not really sure what their pants are. Shorts and stockings? Just multicolored pants? Not the point I'm trying to make here. The shirts, the T-shirts. I always love a new outfit when it comes to Team RWBY, but there's been some debate online about Weiss' bustiness in this shirt. I won't talk about it too much, but let's just say it seems to disprove a bit of the fan art about her, and I'll just leave it at that. Anyway, so Team RWBY is absolutely completely exhausted. They are definitely not morning people, but RWBY could not be happier, just screaming and dancing. And she also managed to get dressed in all of about 2 seconds, so that was pretty cool. Yeah, I love this scene with Marrow. He basically complains that Blake and Yang are always working together and maybe they can do better with others. Essentially saying, you two should break up and find other people to date. Well, he's not actually saying that, but that's kind of how they interpret it. So their response is to do a freaking badass combo move that blows up like 6 crim. And his response to that is basically just be like, okay, you two do you. I'm just going to go run away and hide because you scare me. I've been saying for a while now I thought he ended up being a traitor, but he's just really, really coming off as just a bumbling idiot so far. But we'll see about that. And then Jaune. Oh, sweet, merciful Lord above, Jaune. I really expected his whole crossing guard thing would go very, very poorly for him. The kids wouldn't listen to him, they'd disobey, they'd run around, he'd lose a few of them. No, they seem to completely respect him. And what's more... all the moms want to get with Jaune. I can't believe those words came out of my mouth, but yes, Jaune is a MILF magnet. Who'da thunk it? And these are all, beautiful, attractive women. One even keeps trying to give him a casserole, and they just all want Jaune. It was actually said in an interview before the season started that this season would involve thirsty moms, and everyone thought, oh, that's about Weiss's mom, Willow. She's a drunk. That's a weird way of putting it. No, he just meant moms that want Jaune. Moms that are thirsting for old Vomit Boy. That was just so weird. I mean, I do kind of wish we'd actually seen, a Grimm attack those kids and just Jaune obliterating it. I mean, the moms have probably just had massive nosebleeds that caused them to pass out at his sexiness for doing that. Just a really weird scene. I'm also kind of curious why there are so many moms there who are able to flirt with him. I mean, are they cheating on their husbands? Were they never married? Were all their husbands dead? They die in battle or something? I don't know. That seems a little weird. I mean, there's 6 kids and 8 moms all flirting with him. I saw someone online do the math and say that means at least 2 of those moms are a couple who are flirting with him together. Weird, and I do not want to see the fan art about this. I just really don't. And then move on to the scene that was in the opening. Ironwood fighting Oscar. And a lot of people, when they first saw this, thought, oh my god, Ironwood's going to turn him. He's going to try and murder Oscar. I never thought that was the case, because if you, slowed it down, you could see that they were both smiling at this part. It's more about him training Oscar and hopefully trying to wake up Ozpin while he's at it. But it's just really a great scene for Oscar to get some more experience and practice in battle. I'm assuming he's going to play a fairly big role in the fight to come. I mean, not as big as RWBY or any of them, but a fairly significant role, and him knowing how to fight better is definitely going to be to his advantage. Also, interesting moment where John is fighting Vine, and Vine tells him that he should try to extend his aura out further. So I'm kind of curious exactly what that would result in. Would that mean, like, he could defend the people around him with his aura? Does that mean his semblance could boost them as well? Does that mean he could heal multiple people around him? Or if Vine said this while he was on a pile of blocks, does this mean that if he extended his aura outward, he could have kept them in place so they wouldn't have broken? That'd actually be really cool if John can, like, keep a building from collapsing by pushing his aura into it. Right, next up, we have this weird running thing with Harriet, RWBY, and Weiss. I think either accelerating them or trying to... I mean, those are either acceleration glyphs or she's just trying to attack them while they're moving at that ridiculous speed. Either way, this is a great endurance exercise for RWBY because she doesn't really stay in her spinning form very long. Maybe like a few seconds at max, but she can like work on this and boost her endurance so she can stay in it for like minute, 2 minutes at a time. That can lead to some way more powerful and useful attacks from her. And I just love that the rest of the Aesop's are all watching this and Vine's just sitting there meditating, and then he like opens one eye like, I actually kind of want to watch this. That was really cute from him. And then we continue to see that Team RWBY is not handling the sleep deprivation very well. Except for RWBY, who can't wait to get out of bed and get to work. And oh my god, Blake actually has to lead Yang by the hand out of the room because she's just literally too tired to move. That was adorable. Didn't Penny say they were all getting their own rooms because Atlas was so goddamn rich? Why are they sharing a room now? Did the creators just forget about that, or am I just misremembering that? And then we really start to see the effects of the long days and missions hitting Team RWBY as they all slowly start falling asleep. Oh my god, this scene of Weiss's head on Ruby's shoulder is absolutely goddamn adorable. And then we see Blake's head in Yang's lap. That's cute too. And they're basically all just asleep on RWBY because they really, really can't keep their eyes open anymore. And then we get this rainbow-colored attack, and I'm not going to lie, this took me a second here. I'm thinking, oh, were the Aesops all attacking John at once? Nope, nope, nope. It is goddamn Team Funky! Getting funky in here! Not gonna lie, I didn't expect this. I definitely remember they were from Atlas, but I just didn't think we'd end up seeing them this volume. Like they were off on another mission, or they were doing something else, or they died in the fall of Beacon or whatever. But nope, they're here. And a lot of people are saying it's just fan service. They're just gonna be here at this one moment, that's it. But I don't think that's the case. I mean, they were all given like new outfits, upgrades to their powers, and I just really love the art they showed of Neon at the credits scene, especially with her hoodie up. That was so cute. So I think they're going to play a fairly important role in the big battle that I think is coming basically next episode, but I'll get into that later. And you just gotta love Neon's confidence here. Basically telling Nora that Ren, her boyfriend, is putting more energy into herself than he is into Nora. Wow, that takes a lot of, yeah, that's not something I would say, because I know it results in Nora giving me a black eye, and Neon gets a black eye, which heals instantly. That's kind of weird. I guess that's their automatic healing kicking in. We don't really see that very often, but that's still pretty cool. I like that. She did seem to learn her lesson, though, because she went from flirting with Ren to flirting with Oscar, which is wrong for a whole lot of reasons. I mean, he's got like a 1,000-year-old wizard in him. He's like 12. A whole lot of reasons right there. As all this is going on, Iron was kind of like smugly looking down at them like, yes, my weapons are coming together. Series then goes slow again as RWBY and Penny are transporting dust across a vast tundra. And we see a penguin. So penguins exist in the RWBYverse. Yay! Basically, they can't, transport it by air because it's too heavy and weigh them down and take up too much dust, which they need for the rocket launch. So instead, they just have to drive it back and forth over very long periods of time. And even RWBY's infinite energy starts to waver a bit here, and she comes so goddamn close to falling asleep on Penny's shoulder. That would have been absolutely adorable. But no such luck. We do get a great scene, though, of Penny just saying she's so glad that RWBY's here and her friend, because, like I said earlier, Iron was not letting her have any friends. I'm not gonna lie, when RWBY said, hey, Crow, are you okay back there? I was really expecting to see Crow, passed out drunk or asleep or whatever, but no, instead he's doing something much, much stupider. He is playing cards with Clover. Let me reiterate that in case you don't understand the absolute stupidity of this situation. Crow, who has a semblance that makes him have bad luck, is playing a game of luck against a man whose semblance gives him good luck. You are not going to win. You have a better chance of beating RWBY in a foot race with your legs tied together than beating Clover at poker. Oh, Clover also makes this weird comment about RWBY being one of a kind, and I'm kind of worried he's getting up asking her out, and that's just going to be so painfully awkward for everyone involved. I mean, I am a White Rose shipper. I have no problem with RWBY, dating people other than Weiss, I know shipping her and Jaune is popular in the community, and technically I don't really have any problem with Clover. He's a little too, arrogant and confident, but everything we've seen about him shows that he is actually a really nice guy. He still might end up being the traitor, but nice guy. Really seems to care about the people under him. Really seems to care for Crow to a certain extent. That's nice. So I have no problem with him asking her out, but still it'll just be kind of awkward and painful to see that all go through. And then, oh god, the community would absolutely have a outrage after so many of them have shipped him with Crow. Oh, let's hope that doesn't happen on it. But RWBY's done a great job with the interactions this volume, so if they do end up making that happen, I'm sure they'd make it great, so we'll just wait and see what happens with that. And this just leads to an absolutely great scene with Crow, where he basically says, once upon a time, I'd have drunk to that. And then when Clover tells him he shouldn't, he's like, no, it's okay, I quit drinking, I've stopped it completely, which a little worried given how much he emphasized that he's quit. I mean, he's clearly still struggling with his desires to drink. But right now, everything seems to be going mostly okay for him, so he doesn't really feel the compulsion to drink away his feelings. Though I really, really want a moment between him and Winter this volume where he basically tells her they quit drinking because, that was her main problem with him, mostly because of her mother being drunk. So, if she sees him in a different light, that he's matured, he's grown, he's cut back or stopped drinking altogether, I think that could lead to a great moment between the two of them. But we'll see what happens with that. Anyway, Clover basically just tells Crow that he shouldn't just put himself down, and he's played a great role in the kid's life, and they've grown this much, partly at least because of him. And just a really great scene for him because, Crow has always considered himself an annoyance, an inconvenience, someone who shouldn't be around. But being told that he's actually had a positive effect on people's lives, that's just mind-blowing for him, and it's just a really great scene. Anyway, then we meet Robin Hill and her adorably cute happy huntress behind her. She's apparently a sheep, which I'm kind of curious about that because I feel like they've done so much with Fable. She ended up being like the wolf in sheep clothing. Either a traitor, her semblance turns her into a giant 10-foot tall wolf. Either way, I definitely want to see that. That'd be absolutely freaking amazing. And there seems to be some kind of friendship between Clover and her. I'm guessing they went to the academy at the same time or something. It's definitely a bit antagonistic. He tells her at one point, you should focus on the election. You should work on that when you become a councilwoman, if you win. And later on, he's like, good luck in the election. I hope you win. So, I get where he's coming from. There's antagonistic because she goes against the Atlesian authority so often. But at the same time, she's his friend, and he wants her to succeed because he believes that she can make a big difference for Mantle. So, interesting relationship there. I do hope we see more of them interacting down the road. Oh yeah, we finally also get an explanation of that whole show your teeth thing we saw in the first episode, graffiti on the wall. That was either a pro-faunist saying, show your teeth, show them you can win, or anti-faunist saying, show us your teeth so we know you're not a filthy animal. But it seems more like she's using it as show your teeth to Atlas and let them know that we are willing to fight back against their tyranny. So that's interesting. She also makes a weird comment about how the next Vital Festival isn't anytime soon, but when in the goddamn name would there be another Vital Festival? Seriously, the last one ended with Beacon falling. The other academy just lost their headmaster, and literally every other huntsman in the country was basically murdered. No idea what's happening at Shade Academy. I'm assuming it's not great. And the Atlesian Academy is basically cut off contact with the rest of the world. It's physically impossible for there to be another Vital Festival, so yeah, you're not wrong. It's going to be a long time away. She also explains, they need the resources they're using on the satellite to help Mantle, which, kind of worries Ruby, making her wonder if she's on the right side here. And like I said before, it does seem emphasizing that they can't fully trust Iron with truth because he's gone to such extreme lengths to try and get things done, try to do what's right. I mean, in order to do what's right, he has done what's wrong a few too many times. Then she has this weird thing with her hand that they really emphasize, and a lot of people online seem to be thinking that her power is like mind control, like Ruby almost spills the beans after she says this. Like she waves her hand, you're forced to tell the truth or something like that. But to me, I think it's more likely that her power lets other people become invisible, because then, and we see her two comrades just go from invisible to visible. And I kind of doubt they have like cloaking technology that advanced or would have heard from it in the past. I mean, they could have like invisibility semblances, but both of them having it. I mean, Raven and Crow are twins, and yet his semblance brings bad luck, and hers opens portals. So it'd be really weird if they both just happen to have the same semblance right there. I mean, maybe it's the sheep girl semblance. That would make some sense. Like wolf in sheep's clothing, hiding ability, something like that. But right now I'm thinking that's definitely Robin's semblance. We'll see more of that later. And things came really close to blows. I mean, seriously, which a little concerning considering you're running for the council. I kind of don't think you can, fight the military while you're physically fight the military while you're running for a seat in the government. I mean, honestly, though, I do think Iron would probably just let her go almost instantly because he really does not want Jacques winning that council seat. But it just would have been a really weird thing for her to do, honestly. I do wish Penny hadn't had to come out, though, because it kind of, tarnishes her rep as the protector of Mantle when she's, actively threatening the hometown hero. And even Penny looks upset about this. She doesn't want to, do this because she's like, these are people I'm supposed to protect, and I'm trying to fight them. There's definitely something wrong here, and it just hurts her quite a bit. Very sad scene, honestly. Of course, this isn't the end for Robin Hill, and she's like, oh, I'm definitely going to figure out what they're hiding over there. Which I'm kind of curious exactly what it is she's going to do next. I mean, she can turn people invisible, or someone on her team can become invisible. So I'm guessing she's going to sneak in and see what that is they're creating. She's probably going to get the wrong idea and assume they're building like a mobile death fortress to oppress the people. Honestly, I think they could have just shared the details with her, told her what it is they're planning on building. If they can reconnect the world, that's good for everyone, even if Mantle suffer for a little bit in the meanwhile. That's kind of ironic to say with everything else going on, but I feel like if they trusted her more, it could lead to a better situation for everyone involved. Anyway, the rest of the episode is basically about Weiss and Winter. And I gotta say, I'm fairly surprised Weiss is able to fight her summoning essentially to a draw. Though I don't think this is actually Winter's preferred form of combat. In the past, we've seen her summon a great number of little Graham at once, like the bird she used against Crow, or the bunch of Graham she used to test Weiss in one of the character shorts. So I think that's more where she flourishes, controlling a number of things all at the same time, instead of just one big one. I mean, if she did that, I don't think Weiss would stand any type of a chance against her, but this is still a great sign that Weiss is nearing her level at least. And of course, Winter just can't compliment her like, oh, we've gotten better. She has to say, you're still sloppy, but somehow you've managed to make sloppy your own fighting style. Which makes a lot of sense. I said for a long time I thought Weiss was relying too much as Winter as like an inspiration for her own fighting style. Like she based her weapon off hers, she fought like she did, but she didn't have the same abilities Winter had. The two of them are very different in terms of combat. I mean, look at Ruby and Crow. Ruby based her weapon on Crow's, his scythe, but he uses it as a sword, where she uses that as a long-distance rifle. She also implements her speed into her abilities way more than he does, because, quite frankly, he doesn't have her speed. I think Weiss really needs to focus more. I mean, I think Weiss using, like, the giant summonings as her main form of combat is great for her, and it's going to help her figure out her own style more and more. And this just leads to just a great moment between the two of them, where Weiss is like, wow, you actually complimented me. And Winter's like, no, I didn't. And Weiss says, so you made a mistake. And just really being able to stand up to her sister like this, I mean, stand up might not be the best word, but Weiss has always approached Winter with awe and reverence, and now she's willing to talk back to her like that. And Winter is able to realize just how much she's grown. How she's no longer clinging to the family name, the Schnee name. And I've said for a while I thought Weiss ended up changing her name to something other than Schnee because of how much her father has rubbed it through the dirt. And other people have contradicted me saying, but it's her name, the name of her grandfather. Why should she change it just because her father's damaged it so much? And the best reasoning I can come up to for all that is essentially that Weiss isn't just her name. I mean, in the beginning, the first volume, she clung to it. She says, I am a Schnee. I am Weiss Schnee. As if her family somehow made her better than everyone else around her. Instead, though, she learned to stand up on her 2 feet, take confidence in who she has made herself, the path she has forged for herself, and who she has been allowed to become, without any help from the family name, from the family money. So Weiss changing her name would make sense because it's the person she's become now. But again, that's just my thoughts. Like I said, White Rose shipper all the way, so if Weiss changes her name to Rose, I'd be very happy. And of course, then Winter tries to, get her to enroll in the whole follow Ironwood forever plan, but she's against it because she doesn't believe in the things that Ironwood's trying to do, because she doesn't believe in the methods Ironwood is using. Isolating the kingdom, keeping them separate, letting the people suffer like this. It's not the way their kingdom should run. It's not the way Weiss would want her kingdom to run because they're like the most advanced technical civilization in the world. So it's basically their duty to help the people around them. Again, another great moment here where Winter is basically saying, I know Ironwood has failed a lot, but he's doing his best. He's doing what he thinks is right, and Weiss can only counter, everyone thinks what they're doing is right. I mean, even Salem and Cinder probably think what they're doing is right. And more so, Ozpin thought, keeping the secret from everyone for all of eternity was what was right for the world because they couldn't handle it. But it just allowed his allies to be manipulated behind his back. I mean, this line she says about how they're just looking out for their own interests and their own secrets. Because he was afraid of people finding out the truth. They couldn't be able to handle it. Maybe they'd blame him for all of this, for everything that's happened. And this just leads to a very, very slow moment. I mean, seriously, this is 50 straight seconds, nearly a full minute, of them walking through a hallway. I mean, after the whole, chaos and a rupture and everything in the first half of this episode, this just was really weird to me, honestly. I mean, I kind of feel like they went out of their way to show all the safety features, just so they could show how easily Watson ended up hacking it and breaking in himself. But honestly, just a weird scene. I feel like, they could have been talking while they're walking down this long hallway for that whole minute. Instead, they're just just a walk in silence. It was a weird moment in the episode. Also, there is an aura transfer machine in the corner of the room. Kind of had to pause it to make sure that's what I was seeing. But yeah, that's definitely an aura transfer machine. Same thing they tried using on Pyrrha, which is very concerning. I mean, the whole plan is to wait for Freya to die and hope that Winter is in her last thoughts. So why the freak is there an aura transfer machine in the room? I mean, I have a feeling that at a certain point they're going to run out of time. Like the kingdom's attack, they need the Staff of Creation. Or they'll need the Maiden's powers to be able to take out the enemy or something. I just have a feeling it's going to go very poorly. It wasn't even confirmed exactly what would happen if they transferred a living person's aura into another person. Would she remain who she is? Would she change? But I do think there was one little detail that really could emphasize how Winter could change. If you look on the wall, you see all these paintings she's done of the places she's visited in her life. And there's even one that she's currently working on right now. I think her aura is going to go into Winter, and if Winter doesn't die, we're going to start seeing Winter start painting every now and again, or drawing or sketching. Like part of Freya's soul has set up roost inside Winter, and it's encouraging her to become an artist. I don't know, I think it'd be just a really interesting way of showing that Freya is still at least partly alive, and part of Winter has been taken over. We'll see what happens with that. And anyway, then Winter basically explains that even though she was chosen for this job, probably mostly because her name was Winter, and Ironwood just thought that'd be funny, she's accepted it as her fate, as the fate that she's chosen. She's chosen to accept the fate that was given to her, instead of fighting it or going against it. She's going to use the Winter Maiden's powers to the best of her ability to make a better world for everyone. Gotta say, that very shocking if what she meant by this was that she was going to use the powers to betray Ironwood and join Salem's side. Very unlikely, but would be shocking. And the way the two sisters agree that they both had to form their own paths, form their own ways in this crazy world, and they share a really great moment together. Which is then ruined by their father, because of course everything is. And Jock then proceeds to announce that he's shutting down all industries, everything he's involved in, until the embargo ends. Or, as he's saying, I'm forced to, because of this silly little embargo. Which is apparently illegal. Apparently, Ironwood doesn't have the authority to do it. And quite frankly, I'm not sure if Jock is either really stupid or really I'm not sure if Jock is just, like, overwhelmingly stupid or just evil here. I mean, he's either too stupid to realize this is going to lead to a riot, which is going to lead to the Grimm, which is going to lead to the death of thousands of people, probably the fall of Atlas and probably Atlas falling out of the goddamn sky. Or he's so evil he doesn't actually care if thousands of people died as long as he can get his business up and running again. I probably think he's just so overwhelmingly stupid he doesn't realize it's going to lead to a mass riot that's going to kill thousands. Because that's funnier to me. Especially when you start seeing like footage from down in Mantle of everyone rioting, killing one another, the Grimm showing up, and he's like, Watts, this wasn't what we had in mind. Watts like, oh no, this is what I had planned from the beginning. I'm going to betray you. I actually work for the Queen of the Grimm. Oh, and now I'm going to murder you. Sorry about that. I mean, just Jock betrayed in that situation where Watts is laughing at his utter stupidity would be a really great scene. I'd like to see that. Anyway, the first trash can is thrown and the riot begins. And quite frankly, I think we've just entered the endgame right here and now. I think what's going to happen is essentially, they're going to start rioting. The Grimm are going to start coming in. Watts is going to hack the Atlesian soldiers, their robots, and eventually even Penny to start attacking the civilians, start murdering them left and right, which is going to cause more panic and cause more Grimm to show up. And then the hunters are going to show up to try to protect people, but the people won't trust the hunters and huntresses because, they've been attacked by Atlas over and over again, which is going to cause more panic and more Grimm and everyone fighting each other. And eventually, just Atlas is going to fall out of the goddamn sky. Oh, and then Ruby's going to kill Penny. I actually have a whole theory about that. I'll link it somewhere. I'm not sure if I've ever linked a video before. It's going to be in the description and somewhere on the screen right now. Okay, so yeah, definitely we're in Endgame. I think after everything that's been said about the election, how important it is, how Jacques is trying to get the seat, it's not going to happen. I think for the next 7 episodes, there's all going to be this one long day or 2 days of just absolute rioting and chaos and Grimm and just one thing leading to another, which I'm actually really excited for. I mean, the first 5 episodes definitely been a setup and preparation. We've seen everyone training over and over again, learning new things, getting new weapons and whatnot. So like I said, I think the rest of the volume is just going to be them trying to deal with this riot as it gets more and more out of control. I'm sure we're going to flash over to a scene in Atlas where they're all just partying at some upper-class society gala and laughing how poor the stupid people are. And then the Grimm are going to show up and murder all of them. I'd very much like to see that, honestly. But yeah, just let me know what you think in the comments section down below. Is Atlas going to fall out of the sky? Is this riot going to last for the rest of the volume? Is Jock going to actually win the election, or is there going to be no election whatsoever? Personally, I think he's lost too much faith in the people right here and now. I mean, they were so stupid they assumed they would just blame Ironwood instead of him. I mean, I'm assuming they're going to blame Ironwood at least a little bit, but Jock is definitely going to get a good chunk of that blame for sure. So yeah, let me just think about all that down below. Be sure to like and subscribe, see you in this next video, and until then,
peace.